All right, welcome to episode 40 of the SquadCast. You might recognize these two folks because they sit on the shelf behind me. I don't know, Jordan, can you go to the shelf behind me really quick? There they are. There's Darnell, Roxanne, and there's Darnell and Roxanne. There they are. From RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions, the providers of Rox and Dar, the flamingos. You guys are here in person here. Welcome into the show.
Thanks for having us.
We talk about you guys like every single show, and we love having you guys on as our partners. You guys are obviously a big reason why we're actually even here today. So first off, thank you so much from everybody in this building for doing everything you guys do for us. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely.
It's awesome.
We're so pumped that you can join us tonight. We were going to do a big sponsor appreciation show last week, and you guys are busy because you guys are busy. So we're glad that we fit you in this week, and we're super pumped that you're here with us. So again, our show is brought to you by, let's do it now, RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions. Visit Roxanne and Darnell, and they can help you out with everything you need for your businesses. And I'm going to let you guys kind of give us a little rundown of what you can do for a business, because we say it most weeks, but I want to hear it from you guys. What can you guys do for a business to help them run more efficiently and smooth?
We pretty much can do anything that a business needs, anything from industrial supplies to regular household supplies and everything in between. We have a variety of clientele that use everything from socks to grinding wheels to water to Tide Pods.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much an endless item list that we can provide for people, but we also deliver it right to their door.
Right.
So we save them a lot of money, especially with the cost of gas going up and everything else going up. Cost savings is our main goal, and helping Saskatchewan companies grow is what we want to do. So
I always think back on, I always like asking people, how did you guys get started? So where did this start for you guys? Because this is your business from scratch, right? So where did this start? How long ago, and how have you built to where you are now?
So almost 10 years ago.
10 years, yeah.
I got fired.
Okay.
I had saved my boss at that time about $300,000. And I came into work one day, and he just said, you know what, I know who you talked to, I know what you did, I really don't need you anymore.
Yep.
And that was it.
Love it.
And so we talked about it and said, you know what, if it's that easy to just get rid of us, maybe we can do it for a lot of people.
And you were doing it, that was kind of the industry you were in the first place?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were both in the purchasing industry to begin with. And so we just decided to put something together. We did a little research and figured out that lots of companies in the States and in Europe were doing group purchasing. Automotive makers in Europe use the same non-essential parts like seatbelt clamps or alternators or radios or knobs and dials. And that's how they cut down on the costs and make the cars more affordable for everyone to buy. So we just put our own little twist on it and decided to do it for Saskatchewan companies.
That's awesome. So to get to this point, obviously it's a lot of traveling and a lot of driving, and we actually met you guys through Saskatoon connection, and that's how we got to know you upstairs on the Rod Peterson show about 2 years ago. And so what has it been like just kind of meeting people from all over this province, and just the diversity of people you might meet?
We do a lot of stuff with rural Saskatchewan, and those people they're always so welcoming, and a lot of them are actually surprised that we would want to even come out to try to help them.
Right.
We have one customer down in Frontier, which is about 4.5 hours from Saskatoon, that we visit every week, and he was fully expecting when we started that after a while things would die down, and maybe every week would turn into once every 2 weeks, and
get shipped instead of driving.
Right.
And so, you know what, we're really, really happy to say that we still, it may not always be me, but we still visit them every week, every Thursday, like clockwork, unless he phones us and says, you know what, we had a big blizzard, don't come.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of people you like to work with, people that are less concerned about business and more concerned about the people aspect of everything.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of people that we try to seek out to work with.
How long did it... Oh, you want to say something, Martin? How long did it take you guys to come up with your name for your business? Was it a thing as soon as you guys started dating, or?
No, not long at all, actually. Back in 1996, we bought our first computer.
Yeah.
And so we had a computer, so we needed an email address.
Okay.
Back in the day when Darnell had his very first purchasing job, that's how they used to sort their client names for files. It was first 3 letters of the first name, last 3 letters of the last name.
Yeah.
So we picked RoxDar.
Yeah.
And that was our email address, and we've had the name since 96.
I love it. Because I remember when Tyler, who was working upstairs at the time, came to me and said, RoxDar's on board. And I was like, which RoxDar are we talking about here? I was so confused.
That's a pretty
and then
common misconception.
it took me a minute or two, but once I've realized it, I'm like, this is like the perfect name for you guys. Like, this is unbelievable how kind of well it just kind of meshed.
My favorite's always clients take a while and they always say, oh, RoxDar Supply Chain Solutions. They just think of it as a giant name.
Yeah.
Until then they meet us both in person. They're like, oh, I understand where you got your name from.
Yeah,
and they
it's
have that
perfect.
epiphany moment, and it's very enjoyable for
Yeah.
us.
So again, let's just. I want to see some. Go over to the comment wall here. We got Robin Wildy checking in from PA. Boom. First. Thanks, Robin. Robin Max is over here clicking pictures. Robin tweeted at us yesterday, and he was like, "Oh no, it's 8:30. I'm missing the SquadCast." And he's like, "Oh, it's Monday." So there you go, Max. Another reason we got to keep Tuesdays as a show. John Ohms checking in from Winnipeg. Go Phoenix Suns. Donna Berger from Central Butte, Saskatchewan says, liked and shared. I'll watch it later. Myron from Toronto, my TikTok buddy. He says, hey, everyone, I'm listening to you guys on my drive home today. And Ryan McCarthy is checking in from Saratoga, New York. Please keep checking in here. We love hearing from you guys. Send in your comments. Send in your comments, questions, anything you guys have for the night. Back to you guys here. You guys are big Saskatchewan supporters. Obviously, we've talked about that a lot, even in this interview, but we talk about it every single show, how much you guys love this province. And I know you guys are, look at what they're wearing. They're big sports people. So how excited are you guys for your backyard sports of the Rush and the Rattlers finally opening back up again, and the Rough Riders, I guess, to kind of extend it a little bit? How excited are you to get back into a building in Saskatchewan?
I can't wait to go to an event, not just because a lot of stuff that we do, we also include our friends and our family. So you miss out on that camaraderie.
Yeah.
But not just those major sports in Saskatchewan, but what we really like to do is support minor league sports. So, sponsoring a little league team or a minor hockey league tournament, a hockey tournament or whatever else. That's a big part of what we do, and why we do it is so that, the Munster Red Sox can call us up and say, you know what, do you want to sponsor this weekend's 50-50?
Yeah.
Or
The Martinsville Marauders get to go to their
Martinsville.
first tournament
Yes.
in Edmonton. We
Yeah.
get to do that for them. So.
Nice.
So that's a big part of I guess, of what being self-employed allows you to do.
Yeah.
Is be involved in the communities where we work with, and that's a lot of fun for us. We don't just try to sponsor them, but we also try and see if feasible, if we can make it out to the tournament.
Yeah.
And show our support that way as well, so that
Yeah.
it's not just monetary, but it's also showing up like tonight in person to say, you know what, this is something that we do. We don't just sign a check, but we watch the shows, we comment, we become involved.
Well, people notice that too. Yeah, people notice. So that's absolutely, I love that about you guys. But you are wearing really ugly jerseys.
They're beautiful jerseys.
Sorry,
They
Cubs
are the
jerseys.
best jerseys ever.
Cubs jerseys. I meant to say Cubs jerseys. But no, the Cubs, we were talking about it before the show started, but they're an interesting team. They've lost 10 in a row, and you're a little worried they might go 11 tonight because they're down a little bit already. But you had a bit of a big moment a few years ago, the two of you guys, with them winning the World Series. And did you get to a playoff game that year?
No.
But you've been to some games at Wrigley, and so let's start with that year and go good for a sec, positive, because I know right now it's a little bit of a tire fire. But that year, what was that like for you after so long? Because I'm a Leafs fan. I'm kind of in that same boat now. So, yes, I was waiting for Max to say something. But what was it like for you for that to just end?
Well, then starting out, it was, you go down 3-1 in the World Series, and it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, Roxanne can attest that there wasn't a lot of
Hopefulness.
Yeah,
in the
there's
house?
a lot of emotional swings.
Yes.
There was a lot of empty living rooms with me left all by myself. But But you know what? It's amazing how when your team, whatever team it is, that you pulled for years and years and years can finally come through. And that lasts for a long time. And, it's a very cool moment.
Yeah.
And you'll remember it.
Yeah.
My World Series t-shirt, almost all the print is worn off. The one I bought for Roxanne looks brand new. It's pretty much pristine.
Yeah. The old nervous, is that what
everything was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
so
he wore
many
it
nerves.
almost every day for 3
Right.
months after they won the World Series. Like I was online at the last pitch of the 9th inning, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, there's gonna be stuff. I'm gonna get my order in because he wore it till it fell off. He wore it till it fell
Of course,
apart.
for good reason. So what has this year been like? Because it's been super rocky. I know you watch a lot of the games and you're very, invested. So this year, they were doing okay there for a little bit, and it's kind of just fallen off a cliff.
They were scoring a ton of runs, and then all of a sudden it just. But you know what? I view sports a lot like business, and there's lots of ebbs and flows, especially in a 162 game season.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs, you're gonna have everything in between. And I mean, social media is so funny because, I follow a lot of Cubs pages.
Yeah.
And before the night started, they're like, this is tonight's the night. We're gonna get off the schneid. We're gonna get back on track. And 10 minutes into the game, we got to trade Jake Arrieta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So sports is funny in a way that it's not like anything else where there's just so much emotion.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's talk about you go from Illinois to Michigan. Detroit Red Wings are your other team. So how did you get such a diverse favorite team group of, the two of you share passions, I would say, for teams for the most part, right? So where did Detroit come? Was it the Gordie Howe thing?
My grandma.
Yeah.
My grandma said that she kind of gave me no choice.
Okay.
She said, Gordie Howe's from Saskatoon. You will cheer for the Red Wings.
There you go.
And I said, okay.
Good.
And that was it. And I was a Red Wing fan all the way growing up.
Yeah.
My grandfather, back in the CTV, CBC only days, he only got one game on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter who I cheered for, he cheered for the opposite team.
Okay.
So I never actually knew who my grandfather wanted to cheer for. He just wanted the combat.
Yeah.
He wanted to either make fun of me or have me make fun of him
Yeah.
or whatever the case was. But yeah, it was weird. I have a very diverse. That's the one cool thing about living in Saskatchewan.
You can kind of do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an Eagles fan.
Right.
I'm a
Yeah, that's the
Red Wing
other one.
fan.
Yeah.
It's all over the map, and you can be because you have that option.
Yeah.
I mean, you grow up in Boston, you're pretty much going to be a Bruins fan.
Kind of have to be
Or
there.
you're going to be a Sox fan.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a lot of option.
Yeah.
But it's nice living out here. You have lots of choice.
You told me something before the show that I thought was hilarious, and that was that it's a really bad year to be a Darnell sports fan.
Yes.
So can you just kind of mention how that's been going for you?
Well, we were going to get to Wrigley this year and last summer too, because the nostalgia behind the World Series team that was still somewhat intact, and you want to see those guys.
Right.
But circumstance and things happen. But it's a weird feeling because you know what? As it gets closer to the trade deadline in baseball.
Yeah, we're about 3 weeks away now, Max? 3 weeks away? Yeah, we're going to get a couple of Cubs on the Blue Jays, perhaps.
Yeah,
we'll talk
I would
about
think
that.
that Kimbrel. I heard that Kimbrel rumor today.
Yeah.
But you have that sense of worry, almost like, oh, just hang on for one more year. But you know what? I don't want to go through another 11-game losing streak.
No.
So if we can do something to get better, because we're not a World Series team this year. So if you can do something that's going to help you next year, then yeah. But it's mixed emotion.
Right.
It's you want to see guys. You know what? Same thing with the Red Wings. I mean, phenomenal for years and years and years. And as Max told me, you know what? Spoiled. 25 straight years in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Little bit spoiled.
Yeah.
No one's gonna do that. Well, I shouldn't say never again, but someone might.
There's so much parity in the NHL now, though. Like, so a team can be really good one year and then just fall off. And I don't know. It's going to be really tough to do a 25-year.
And so having to rebuild was something that I'm not that old, So I went from the dead wings and the giving away a car at the rink
Right.
to get people to come in. And then we got Stevie Y and we got really good.
Yeah.
And then I remember, I'll tell you a quick story.
Sure. We got some time.
We were still living in Humboldt. We were young, dating. We've been dating forever and married forever. And
Be 24 years this
There we go.
so
There we go.
So Roxanne stopped on the way home, and the Wings were playing the Devils. And we were driving home, and one of her friends was walking down the street. And they stopped to talk. And I'm like, tick-tock, like game starting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I actually ended up jumping out of the car and walking the rest of the way home so that I could make it in time
Yeah.
before.
start of the
But
game.
you know what? When you've been bad, and then you've been good, and then you're close, it becomes important.
You got to get there.
You know.
We only do have a couple minutes left in this segment, but I want to ask you guys this because I love hearing your stories of your travels. That's one of my favorite things whenever we get together. I love hearing your stories. So you've been to some really great venues together for the most part, but I would see the two of you have been on some travels. So what are a couple, maybe pick one or two of your favorite venues that you've been to? It can be any sport, but hockey, whatever. Some of your favorite venues, a couple of your favorite places to be.
Well, the easy answer is Mosaic.
Sure.
I mean, any Rider game is fun. And I have been going to Rider games since I was 4 years old. So,
Yeah.
I mean, for a very long time. I was fortunate enough that Roxanne and I went on our first date to Taylor Field.
There you go.
We got hailed
There's a keeper
on.
right there.
We got hailed on and
Yeah.
poured on,
Rained on.
and it was awful.
Sure.
And I still got a second date. So
There you go.
that part was, you know what? We have been to a lot of very cool places like the stadium in San Fran and countless Rider games. We go, as a family, we started a tradition where about 24 or 26 of us go to Edmonton every year to
Okay.
go to a Rider game with
Yep.
everybody. And we stay at my brother-in-law's house. We all sleep under the fish tank or on a couch or wherever.
Yeah.
But you know what? More so than that, I mean, Roxanne and I get to work together. We do a lot of extracurricular stuff together. And when you're able to find a person that you can do that cool stuff with, it almost makes me, you know, when you get opportunities to do something without the other one, you almost don't want to go.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have to tell the story that doesn't include them.
Yeah. Do
And
you want some
so-
Kleenex? I'm starting to tear up here.
You know what? It's very cool. You know what? We went to San Fran and we watched the Cubs over Roxanne's birthday weekend. We went to a night game, and we obviously have never been to San Fran. And we took a left when we should have taken a right. We had our kids with us, too.
Missed the taxi.
Yeah, and we missed the taxi stand totally. I tried to call for an Uber, and the lady on the other end was like, I have no idea where this street is.
Yeah.
And so we're standing in the middle of the dark at 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night in the middle of a strange city.
About 10 blocks from Pier 39.
Yeah, about 10 blocks from our hotel. And not knowing exactly which direction that was. And we just jumped in a random car.
Yeah.
Some guy rolled down his
Ticket
window,
on his
said, "Do you guys need a ride? You got to hold my bananas." And we got in, and we were
took us
halfway
on our
back.
way home.
Yeah, and I thought,
Wow.
wow, maybe this isn't a good idea.
Yeah. Maybe
Like
maybe
we
looking
should
back.
have thought about this a little bit more.
He was a
And-
super nice
But
guy.
you're
But
here.
it
You're
turned
here to
out-
tell the tale.
It turned out all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Having adventures with your spouse or with your family or being in business together. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that there aren't days when she wants to choke me to death or
Never vice versa, though. Never.
No,
vice versa.
never. But you know what? Or she's not happy to see me start to make a trip to Frontier.
Sure.
But it's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool to have somebody that makes those kind of memories.
We got a question
Awesome.
here for you.
Really?
From one of the viewers, Ryan McCarthy from Saratoga, New York, says, "Which sports venue haven't you been to that's maybe on your bucket list? Maybe one that's a holy grail."
Wrigley Field.
Yes.
We haven't
Yeah.
actually been to.
You haven't actually been to
No,
Wrigley?
we haven't actually. We were planning on it, and it got canceled because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you know what? Boston.
And Eagles Stadium.
Yeah.
So
I wanna go to
Wrigley,
Philly.
Eagles, I've been to one there. Unbelievable. So you're gonna
Yeah.
have to go there.
So I want to go. Yeah, I
Go
wanna to
not in
Philly.
November though. I went when it was super cold. Go in the beginning of the
September.
season.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're fresh out of time. One more for you. Amanda Renicky says, "Hi, Auntie Roxanne and Uncle Darnell. We're watching." So there you go.
Yes.
Family matters. Thank you guys for coming in. Now we can all put faces to the names when we guys say your name every single week. So, and we got your little dolls up on the shelf too. So thank you so much
Excellent.
for coming in tonight, and feel free to hang out if you'd like to, but we have to hit a break. So again, thank you guys
Awesome.
so much.
Thank you guys.
so much. All right, when we come back, do we have him, Max? Or Max, you're back here. Jordan, do we have Craig? Is Craig ready to roll? It sounds like it. I hear Jordan saying something in the back. But we're going to hit a commercial break. Thank you to Roxanne and Darnell for jumping in here tonight, and we'll be right back in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at roxdar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big time. Big time.
All right, welcome back. We have a much less good-looking solo man
Taller
here.
though this week, I tell you.
You are taller because you're on a
Holy,
bar
look at
stool
me
this
go.
week. I'm feeling nice and slunkered
Dikembe
down.
Mutombo right now.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh, I don't know. I guess just a taller. But yeah, no.
Right?
Right?
We're going to be talking Blue Jays. We got the Blue Jays jersey here. I'm wearing mine. He's obviously decked out. Max, you're decked out.
Always.
Welcome to the show, Max. It's your first appearance of the day.
It is my first appearance of the day. I tell you what, though, it's going to be hard to top the first one, though. My goodness.
Yes.
I tell you what, Darnell and Roxanne, they're telling stories about the sports trips.
Telling
and,
you, it's the best.
That family sounds like a good one to be a part of.
I know.
tell
Can
you.
we get adopted?
Maybe. I don't
We'll
know.
talk
Darnell's
about it
right
after
there.
the show. Yeah,
Alrighty.
okay, good.
We're in.
So, Max, we are going to be talking Blue Jays a lot in the next couple of minutes here. Craig Ballard's coming in just a minute. But before we do that, you have to take off after this interview. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, there's a Predators trade this week.
We have a trade to announce.
We have a trade to announce. I want to get your thoughts on this before we go to Craig, because then you're going to have to take off. So Victor Arvidsson gets dealt prior to the Kraken draft to the LA Kings for a second and third round pick. Go ahead.
Go for it. Hey, well, I tell you what, when it comes to Victor Arvidsson, there he is adorned beautifully on the screen there. It's going to be tough not seeing him skating in gold anymore. He was a fixture on this team for 7 seasons. He was with us through our most successful run in franchise history, right? 2017, he was an integral part of the team that went to the Stanley Cup final. In addition to the following season, he chipped in 34 goals in 58 games. I think the unfortunate part for the Predators is this is a casualty of business, and unfortunately, when you're not super successful in business in 4 or 5 seasons, sometimes you need to shake things up. Since that cup run in 2017, they've been bounced from the first round pretty much every year since, with an exception of the following season when they won the President's Trophy and lost to Winnipeg in 7 games. But yeah, unfortunately, RV was the casualty here, and as much as it pains me to see him go, it's just what it is when it comes to this time of year and shake-ups and roster moves to maybe try and take that next step and get back into the level of prominence that the Predators are hoping to still achieve in this window of competition. So it's a tough move to see him go. With that being said, he was a great Predator for 7 seasons. I wish him all the best in LA. I hope it rejuvenates him. I hope it gives him a chance to kind of find that Victor Arvidsson that was there in that 2018-19 season where he chipped in those 34 goals. But with that being said, it's always tough when you lose a fixture of the franchise, and he was a big contributor for a 4th-round pick out of Sweden. So all the best to Victor, and hopefully one of the picks pans out. We got a 2nd-rounder in 2021, a 3rd-rounder in 2022. Here's hoping one of those lottery tickets pans out, and I hope David Poile uses the now $23 million in cap space that he has to go out and do some work and maybe be a dark horse for Jack Eichel, maybe.
Yeah, Jack Eichel's a weird one, and that's going to be a topic for probably another show because we could dive into Jack Eichel. I've heard so many bad things about his neck right now that I don't know if he's the one you want to go after. However, it's still Jack Eichel. So
it's worrisome, much like Nate Pearson is a little bit.
Oh, good.
I don't know.
I'm
just drawing on those parallels right now. It's a little worrisome if you're the Buffalo Sabres and the kind of value you can get back for Jack Eichel given his status right now.
And looking at it from the Kings' perspective, super fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great contract for them to pick up because they're in a position where they could actually make a playoff push next year in the Pacific Division, because that's going to be a weaker division, more or less. And with the Kraken coming in, who knows what they're going to be like. So you have Vegas and Edmonton, who I would probably say are the 2 front runners in that division right now. Calgary is a weird team. Vancouver right now is kind of a weird team. And then the other California teams, LA could legitimately make a push. They have good pieces there, young pieces, veteran, established vets like John Quick and Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, to build around. And if you can start adding pieces similar to a Victor Arvidsson right now and maybe deplete a little bit of that youth, I don't know, guys. Look out for the LA Kings. They could be really interesting.
He checks all the boxes. 4.25 a year for the next 3 years. He's controlled. He's 28 years old.
Yeah.
He's looking for a change of scenery, and he has been to the Stanley Cup final before, which brings some experience to that already group full of pedigree. So, yeah, it's a good pickup. I'm hoping that, again, David Poile knows what he's doing. It's a tough piece to see, as he could potentially score 30 goals again, for sure.
All right. Let's do it. Jordan, if you're ready, we're going to head out for our first video guest of the night. He hails from the center of the universe. There he is. Craig joins us to talk the Toronto Blue Jays. I first found this guy just scrolling through TikTok, and I was blown away by the content that you were putting out, Craig. So Craig Ballard, Jays Talk on TikTok. Go find him there now. But the Jays Talk master joins us tonight. Craig, how are you doing?
Well, dear diary, today I made my debut on the SquadCast, and I hope you both noticed what I did there. That was my George Costanza leave behind. Today I made my debut on the SquadCast. I've already invited myself back, so I'm doing very well, gentlemen.
Well, you've already been invited back, and that's
multi-year
all. And that does it here for tonight.
Craig.
Craig Ballard, thank you for joining us. No. Bring him back. Now we can't get him back on the air. Come on, Jordan. There we go. There he is. So, Craig, let's start with TikTok. I'm just curious because I'm assuming you were kind of like me with my TikTok jump. Is that you saw a need, or you saw an emptiness, a void, if you will, and you thought, you know what, I need to jump in here and start putting my voice in here. Is that where it started? When did it start for you?
The when, I wish I had a good answer, gentlemen. And in all honesty, really appreciate that being on. Big fans of both of yours, big fans of the show. Would you believe the morning of the season opener? Because I'd done videos and things like this in the past, NFL, baseball, and basketball on YouTube and different shows, things like that I had. And I'd seen YouTube because, my nieces and nephews showing me these things. And I'd never noticed it, to your point, Clark, there wasn't any sport content on there. But what spoke to me about TikTok was the 1 minute format. I feel like in today's day and age, with the attention spans we all have, I like the idea of the 1 minute. And as far as the timing, would you believe the morning of the season opener, all of a sudden, it occurs to me, hey, I should do this. And the rest, as they say, I hope is going to go down in history. But yeah, it was that quick of a decision. I've been wanting to get back into it. Sort of life took over. I had to get the 9 to 5. And so I couldn't dedicate myself like I wanted to my sports work. But again, the TikTok with the 1 minute at a time, that was sort of up my alley. And I hoped I would enjoy it. I absolutely have. I remember that morning, gentlemen. I told my mom I was going to do this. I remember this, and I said to her, "I wonder, boy, imagine if I could get 10. Imagine if I could get 10 followers. If I could speak to 10 people every day about the Blue Jays, I'd be on cloud 9." And as we speak now, it's approaching the 1,000. So it's been extremely enjoyable. Met guys like you. I've met Roan. Some of the followers you guys have sent over as well. It's been 2 thumbs up, guys. I've really enjoyed it.
So give me a background on you, Craig, because you put a lot, like I'm going to say you put a lot of effort into your videos. You have the green screen going on. You do some video editing. It's a lot more effort than I'm going to say a majority of TikTokers put into their videos. So what's your background? Like, where did all that come from? Where does your love for sports content creation come from?
Boy, just something, that I've been doing for a while now. For a long time, guys, I've had a passion for creating a sports content that I consider, and I remember getting this from Tim McAuliffe when he talked about entertaining and educational, the edutainment. And I've always prided myself on putting things like that together. I used to be a writer, sports writer. But again, it was really just if it was easy to do, and if it was easy to do something like this to pay the bills, then how many of us would be doing it? So I did have to get that 9 to 5, sort of take that step back for that sort of career. But it was always something that was pulling me back. I have a passion for it. In particular, I have a passion for baseball, in particular, a passion for Blue Jay baseball. So I guess in the back of my mind, I sort of knew, even though I had to take that small step backwards a few years back, I guess I kind of always knew, or at least hoped, that I would be back to it. I enjoy talking Blue Jay baseball. I enjoy meeting people. And even when people don't agree with the things I'm saying, gentlemen, I always pride myself on, I want the viewers to understand that if Craig is saying something, even at the end of the day, I don't agree. I know Craig's not talking just to hear himself talk. He thought he had a point to make in there. And to be honest, he tried to make 3 points. To be honest, he still didn't convince me on the first 2. But I got to tell you, that 3rd point, that wasn't bad. Those are the sort of things that are my pleasure.
I tell you what, Craig, and as soon as you mentioned Tim McAuliffe and the edutainment, right, you nailed it. It's funny. That's the inspiration, a little bit of where this show kind of derived its origin from. So in a bit of a different medium, a little bit of a longer format, given how much Clark and I like to hear ourselves.
We can't shut up is essentially what Max is trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless, either way, you're absolutely crushing it on all aspects, my friend. And again, the 3 points are hit for me every single video you make, my friend. So I guess kind of tying it all back into it, where did the Blue Jay fandom start from? Obviously, the sports content creation is 1. The ability to create it and actually make a good product is 2. But 3, you obviously have to have the medium to do so. And you are truly one of the most passionate Blue Jay fans I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. So where did the fandom start for you?
Well, much appreciated. I like a lot of people, and you know what? I'll really tie it back. I think a lot of Leaf fans will hear me on this. It's my family. Grandparents right from the top, very passionate about the Blue Jays. My grandparents, when I was growing up, were part of the Blue Jays used to have booster clubs. So they'd have a player and pitcher of the month luncheons. We were heavily involved as a family with the Toronto Blue Jays for years. There was a time, long story short, there was a time in '85 when Manny Lee lived in our building. And so I got very close with him. We had several family vacations in Dunedin where Manny Lee and Lou Thornton Jr., if you remember him, and Rob Ducey, these guys, I got very close with them. They'd bring me back in the dressing room. So just as a kid, things like that just blew my mind. So my passion for Blue Jay baseball starts from my grandparents, trickled down to my parents, and certainly to me. And it's a Ballard family thing. My cousins would be sitting here saying the exact same thing. Yeah, it came from Grandma and Papa. They got the whole thing started, and it's trickled down. And personally, I've never looked back. I've had heartache, but personally, I've never looked back.
Well, yeah, we've been through a bit. Yep, that's for sure. Heartache, because we've seen our share.
Your favorite line, Clark? Thanks, I hate it.
Thanks, I hate it. Yeah, no, exactly. So let's get into this season, because there is some anti-heartache going on with the Jays right now. And not that it's full of sunshine and rainbows, Craig, but there's a lot of excitement right now, a lot of hope, a lot of light at the end of the tunnels right now. And with the Jays lineup, the batting order the way that it is, it's just every night could be an absolute explosion. And we've seen a lot of weird things going on with the pitching staff and injury problems. But, if you could kind of wrap up this season so far, what are we, like 80-some games into the year now? A little bit more than that, obviously. Where are we? Yeah, we're getting there. So what would be your general thoughts on this current season so far?
I may be in the minority. I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. Now,
Yes.
I know that a lot of Blue Jay fans would have perhaps expected a little bit more, maybe. Certainly, if any Blue Jay fan is going to say, well, Craig, you can't be happy with the games that the bullpen has blown this season, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And the heartbreaker, gentlemen, is the games have been blown against the likes of the Tampa Bay Rays. The teams that we absolutely need to compete with, that the Jays absolutely need to compete with and beat, those are the real heartbreakers. But the one thing I would say, gentlemen, about this team, and perhaps the fan base doesn't want to hear something like this, but I go back, I'm old enough to remember the 92 and 93 World Series teams, champions both, of course. But the one thing that gets really lost in the mix here, and a lot of Blue Jay fans get upset with the Yankees, with the Red Sox, the teams that spend money. Well, in 91, the then California Angels can't afford Devon White, send him over. We'll take on that contract. The San Diego Padres can't afford Joe Carter, Roberto Alomar, send him. Who's a free agent? Who's on line 1? Jack Morris, cut him a check. Who's on line 2? Dave Winfield, cut him a check. 93. Who's on line 1? Dave Stewart, cut him a check. Who's on line 2? Paul Molitor, cut him a check. The Blue Jays were the high payrolls during those 2 seasons. By the time 94 came, they were the worst team in baseball. And when they made the playoffs in 2015, gentlemen, let's remember, from 93 to 2015, at that time, it was the longest playoff drought in North American sports. So NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and NHL, no team had a longer drought in the playoffs than the Toronto Blue Jays, because cutting that check season after season is not sustainable. And this is why I'm excited about the 2021 Blue Jays and going forward. Shapiro and Atkins, they built it sustainable in Cleveland. They're building something sustainable here in Toronto. Where I say the fans may not want to hear this is because I don't think we're going to see too many eggs put in this 2021 basket. I know RoxDar you were talking to them earlier, and I know Blue Jay fans want to give anything possible to go get a Kimbrel. I know I know Max wants the floodgates open for his boy Scherzer. I know this. I just don't think things like that will happen in 2021. So perhaps in the 2021 lens, I may be looking at it, maybe, in my opinion anyway, a little bit more realistic than some of the Blue Jay fans are. But overall, I'm very pleased. Can you imagine this season if it was a 500, if it was a middling team, if Vlad hadn't taken the steps forward, if we hadn't seen that young core take steps forward, if we hadn't seen something to get excited about Merriweather or Rocky? I know they have to come back from injury. Anthony Kay all of a sudden pitching well. So what 2021 is showing me more than anything is that the future is absolutely as bright as I hoped it would be.
Absolutely. No, I want to run through a wall.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And just having the expectations dialed back a little, just a little bit.
Yeah.
This is what we needed. We needed this dose. We needed to take a little medicine here and understand where we're at. So that's nailed it, Craig.
So, yeah, coming into the season, like, Craig, me and Max, every single week on this show would be like, you know what? I'm worried about the starting pitchers. That was our big thing for the whole leading up to the season.
A lot of winter talk. Yep.
A lot of winter talk. We were worried there weren't enough good starting pitchers on this roster. We had a feeling the bullpen would be okay.
Yeah.
We thought Nate Pearson was coming up. The starting it might be okay, but now it's been the opposite. The starting pitchers have actually been pretty reliable, and the bullpen has been the ones that are shaky at the best of times. So let's go with the starters. I want to talk starters a little bit here. Maybe start with Hyunjin Ryu and what he's been going through in the last little bit. But what's your overall assessment of the Blue Jays starting rotation?
Well, coming into this season, coming into 2021, I really thought, again, my expectations were a little bit tempered for this particular season, but I thought if there was a wild card, if there was an X factor, it wasn't somebody on the roster, it was Pete Walker. Let's see if Pete Walker can get Steven Matz back in the strike zone. Let's see if Pete Walker can get Trent Thornton back in the strike zone. Let's see if Pete Walker can get Robbie Ray back in the strike zone. And he's checking off some boxes. Alek Manoah up on the big league level now, developing, checking off some boxes. So from a starter standpoint, I think they're ahead of the game. If you recall, gentlemen, it was really remarkable how quickly the Jays got out of the gate, because baseball free agency these days is insane. By the time the regular season starts, it's practically an all-star team at every position that's still available. The free agency moves at a glacier pace. But right out the gate, the Jays struck and brought back Robbie Ray. How shrewd of a move is that looking like right now? Didn't allow any sort of bidding war to happen, and Ray can make a case right now for their ace. The one where I am concerned, you mentioned there, producer Clark, Hyunjin Ryu. He does get Danny Jansen back, but boy, he has absolutely scuffled over his last 6 starts. He's part of my Jays Talk video tomorrow. I went back and I took a look at his month of June. It was just awful. Remember, he needed those last 2 starts of the month of June against Baltimore just to get his June ERA below 5. That is not Hyun-Jin Ryu. That's unrecognizable. And I went back and literally, gentlemen, looked at every single month he's ever pitched. There was one, I want to say it was May 2018 with the Dodgers. He had 5 starts in that month. They were all a nightmare. That's literally the only month he's had in his career that's been worse than what we've seen now. The control, that pinpoint control, the magic he was weaving with his changeup, it's all gone out the window. And the fan base keeps trying to tell me that, well, once he gets Danny Jansen back, that'll change and he'll right that ship. I really hope that's the case, but I'm concerned, gentlemen, because I feel like Hyun-Jin Ryu, if it's Danny Jansen or if it's one of us behind the plate, Hyun-Jin Ryu is shaking to whatever pitch he wants. Every single pitch he throws is what he wanted to throw. So I think he's been throwing the pitches he wants to throw, still not having that success. The only cause for optimism with Jansen coming back is I think he's by far the best Jays catcher at framing the pitches. I think McGuire and Riley Adams are downright bad at that. So maybe Jansen can help buy some strikes, because that's when Ryu's at his best. Picking those corners early, then as the game goes on, he expands that strike zone, gets you to chase. And gentlemen, we're over a month now since we've seen that Hyun-Jin Ryu. No coincidence, of course, that Chicken Strip Ross Stripling turned things around after his spot on the SquadCast. I mean, are we calling that out? Are we calling that out for what?
Yeah, where's our
yes,
royalty check? Because I feel like we earn a little bit of we need some bumps here for what we did for Ross Stripling's career.
You got the man's contact info, so I mean,
Yes.
I feel like we might have to land him an endorsement deal first to be cashing on the bonus.
You're right. We'll talk with Mark and Ross, because I feel like we should get in the sports psychology game or something. I don't know what happened with that, but it
Craig's
worked out
going to have to
nicely.
be on the team here because he understands exactly what's what, though,
Yes.
at this point. And I mean, you absolutely nailed it there, Craig, right? When a pitcher like Hyun-Jin Ryu needs to have that finesse tool, to have that catcher that has the ability that Danny Jansen has to frame those pitches, when he's missing that tool from his tool belt, that's a really tough thing. And again, like you said, no coincidence that this has been the worst month that we've seen for years. And with 2 years left on that $80 million deal, here's hoping that this is just a very short sample size of a blip in the radar, for sure. But I mean, I kind of want to go back to, again, it's been an exciting 14 days for Jays fans. We've had a couple of trades, Rowdy and Richards today. I mean, that was something that, again, we have to give you credit, good sir.
Totally
you called this immediately after the former trade of Adam Simber coming over and Mr. Dickerson, who has yet to play a game with still being on the 10-day IL. But I want to know, again, as you alluded to earlier, with this maybe being a year of tinkering moves, not necessarily swinging for the fences, what letter grade do you give these setup moves that Ross and Mark have made? And are you excited about the creativity, seeing that, again, there's multi-year control on some of these guys? Again, what sort of grade do you give these minor moves right out of the gate here before we approach the trade deadline at the end of the month?
And Max, that's precisely why I'm going to give it an A. You just summed it up right there. These are still controllable contracts. This is Rowdy Tellez and Joe Panik, all due respect to both, out the door, and then Adam Simber, Corey Dickerson, today's trade. These two gentlemen, that AAA pitcher as well. Let me tell you, Bowden Francis, I'll be shouting from the rooftops to anybody that wants to listen. This guy is going to have a major league career. We're going to see him on the big league level. I honestly thought, I was very surprised to see him included in this trade. I honestly thought he was this close to being called up to the big league level by Milwaukee. He's got swing and miss stuff. There's a lot to be excited about. And gentlemen, we go back to what I was talking about the 92-93, building something sustainable like Shapiro and Atkins is doing here. So again, all due respect to the Panics and the Telezes, big picture, long-term wise, were they going to be part of it? Tellez was given that chance, but I really thought that his time was up when that Dickerson trade happened. The Marlins GM, Kim Ng, she said something very interesting. It was almost just in passing. She sort of mentioned that she wasn't surprised that Dickerson ended up with the Jays because they've been talking to her about the Jays for, I think she said something like a little over a year now. And that made me think, and gentlemen, can't we see Dickerson, a left-handed bat, a gamer like him? That's right up Montoyo's alley, Atkins and Shapiro's alley. So I really thought that they would see him as the lefty, the versatile lefty they were looking for. I felt that made Rowdy expendable. I really thought Rowdy would be moved for somebody with an expiring contract, and that's not the case at all. Trevor Richards, under contract for a few years. And the turnaround he's had in 2021, he was with the Rays last year, so we saw a lot of this guy. And I remember clearly watching Richards last year and being surprised, because don't we have expectations for Tampa Bay Rays pitchers? They're always awesome. He wasn't awesome. This year, now because he's been able to go into the bullpen, instead of needing to save something in the tank so he can go 5 or 6 innings, he knows he's only going 1 or 2 innings, so that fastball is much more active, much more lively. And what he's done to improve his changeup, he's in that real sweet spot, guys. When the fastball miles per hour are about 8 to 10 miles per hour different than your changeup miles per hour, it really adds to the effectiveness of both pitches. And that describes Trevor Richards. He's in that sweet zone. I'm very excited about that addition, gentlemen.
And he's under control, which is always important for the next 4 years. Which
and
is
coming to pitcher whisperer Pete Walker to do even more work with. So.
You never know.
Yes.
Yeah, always a valuable thing to have a guy like Pete Walker. You talk about Dickerson, and I'm just curious if you know a little bit about him. Is he a guy that the Jays might look at maybe making as a first base depth option? Is that a thing that he can do, or is he strictly outfield DH?
Well, he will be outfield DH. The only thing that I can see is to at least try him at first base for a while, because right now, Vlad is not coming out of the lineup by Vlad's choice. Montoyo's, I've heard him say a few times how he's gone to Vlad, we've got a full week this week. We're playing all 7 games. What day do you want off? And Vlad letting him know, when's our next actual day off? That's the day I want off. So Vlad, you're taking Vlad out of that line. Yeah, you're taking Vlad out of that lineup, kicking and screaming from Vlad's standpoint and from a Jays production standpoint, of course, by the way. But so that is Montoyo's opportunity to give Vlad the day off, is to have him DH. Right now, again, Panic and Tellez, that's the thing they had in common. Either one of them could have been that guy. Now it's going to be Lourdes Gurriel backing up first base. And I really hope, Lourdes gets his bat going. He has a lot of potential there. There's a lot that I like about Lourdes Gurriel. His play at first base is not on the list of things I like from Lourdes Gurriel. So if they see that Dickerson can be even slightly better than Gurriel at first, then he does become the guy to spell Vlad when he's getting that day off.
So I want to ask you this, because I'm wearing a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. jersey.
And it's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
I love it. I haven't taken it off since I got it, pretty much. Max has one in the corner. We won't show you it because we have to go out a different camera angle. It's fine. But you get the point. We have Vladimir Guerrero jersey. We have Vladimir Guerrero on our desk.
We like what he's done this year, Craig, is what we're saying.
We got the Funko or whatever they're called on our desks.
It's a Funko Pop.
What I'm going to ask is, are you a little surprised to see what I think is a major step in his maturity and growth as a player? You mentioned it. He doesn't want to get out of the lineup. He's fighting it. He's grinding.
Skipping home run derbies.
He's skipping the home run derby. That's not the move of a 23-year-old big bopper, if you want to call him one of those. Typically, the young guys they want to show what they got. They want to do everything. They want to whatever. Vladdy seems like he is absolutely dialed in. Can you talk about his development this year?
Man, first I'm going to drop a bomb on the SquadCast. I've literally been saving this. I hoped you would ask me this. Gentlemen, I'm going to predict that Vlad participates in the 2021 Home Run Derby.
Ooh,
I'm going to predict he participates. There's still 2 spots available. Hear me out here, gentlemen. Hear me out. Clearly, whatever incentive he had previously, what they went to him before, clearly didn't work. Now we're right up against the date. I'm thinking the sponsors have gone to Major League Baseball and said, are you guys kidding me right now? You have 6 of the 8 spots filled. Are you guys kidding me right now? You didn't have a problem cashing our check, but you're having all kinds of problems getting the participants. Are you guys kidding me right now? Now, hear me out here, gentlemen. Vlad Guerrero going to be hard-pressed. If he's interested in winning the MVP this season, going to be hard-pressed against Shohei Ohtani. For Vlad to have a chance, major things are going to have to happen. The starter has to be the Triple Crown. Even on top of that, because Ohtani's having such an unprecedented season, I think Vlad will need to add a Gold Glove to that. And I think he would need to add a Home Run Derby. Yes, it's not official. It doesn't count. But from a psyche standpoint, from a public perception standpoint, because right now everybody's talking about Ohtani. Everybody's talking about Ohtani. If it was the one time this year where Ohtani and Vlad went head-to-head, the Home Run Derby, and Vlad won, I'm actually predicting it, gentlemen. I'm dropping that bomb on the SquadCast. But as far as the season he's had this season, thank God for YouTube. Not only do I get to see the SquadCast and your shows on YouTube, but thank God, because I watched all of Vlad's games as he came up through the minors, thanks to YouTube. And what amazed me, not impressed, amazed me, he will not expand his strike zone. You talk about right there, Clark. You'd think a guy like this wants to, because he wants or needs to have that production. He lets that production come to him. And that swing in that strike zone is as deadly as it gets. Now, what stunned me, I think it may be the reason for the bald head even, he inexplicably went away from that when he first came up to the majors. Take your mind's eye back, guys. If anyone remembers Vlad's debut, he was playing third base. The Skydome Rogers Center was going nuts. there was a foul ball dribbled down to third base. Vlad went and got the foul ball and threw it to a fan in the stands. The roof came off the place. The place went nuts. And I think Vlad noticed that, and he noticed expectations are beyond through the roof here. And he uncharacteristically started to expand his strike zone as a rookie. Obviously, that's not what got him to the big leagues. And what's incredible, if you go back and watch his at-bats as a rookie, guys, he's taken 3-0 pitches that are on corners. Just any other pitcher against a rookie that's down 2-1, 3-1 in the count is saying, well, screw you then. Here's 96. Hit this kid. They were painting corners. Vlad was getting the pitcher's A game even as a rookie. So it was not helping when he was inexplicably expanding his strike zone. Fast forward to this season, how are the walks looking? How's that plate discipline looking? You have to come into the strike zone to Vlad Guerrero Jr. this season. And again, I'll say, that bat path, that swing in that strike zone, it's as violent and deadly as there is in baseball. If he's going to continue this, and I think there's nothing but evidence to suggest that he will, because it's what he grew up doing. And it's so funny, guys, because his father, Senior, never saw a pitch in his life that didn't look good to him. Senior, literally hit pitches that bounced. That bounced.
I saw it.
First baseball player to ever play cricket in a live game. It was amazing.
Oh, my God. There you go.
I tell you.
Myron Roan Diggs from TikTok just said, Vladdy just went yard, guys. So there we go. The SquadCast strikes again.
Yeah, what are we at now? 7-2 in the game, though? Oh, boy. Was it another solo?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, well. Either way, Craig Ballard, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, he's out here playing chess while we're all playing checkers.
Yep.
You heard it here first. 2021 Home Run Derby appearance for Vladdy Guerrero Jr. I like the call. I love the boldness. Let's do it. At the end of the day, it's true, though. If he's there, I'm watching.
Yep.
If he's not there, I don't know if I'm tuning in, right? Yeah. So comes down to dollars and cents and what makes sense. But coming to the other side of the plate here, Craig, we're going back to the pitchers. Nate Pearson, Alek Manoah. I'm going to need your brain on this one. You got to dissect this for me a little bit. Who could have predicted that all of a sudden in this young season that's still only halfway through, who would have predicted that Alek Manoah would have usurped Nate Pearson as easily the top pitching prospect? I don't even know if we can call Manoah a prospect anymore, but in his early returns so far, he's been absolutely incredible. Can you maybe talk to me about how this evolution possibly took place? And with that being said, what does the future hold for Nate Pearson given his tumultuous start injury-wise as well as early appearances in the big leagues?
Now, for reference, Craig, at the beginning of the season, I got blasted by Arash Madani.
You're still getting blasted.
For saying that Nate Pearson should be the closer or a late inning reliever. And I just wanted, you can continue with the answer now.
Even if somebody disagreed with that, how could you be blasted for it? It makes a ton of sense. So I'm with you on this one, Clark. And Max is in my head because I have marveled very often, mused to myself this season, how ironic it is that Alek Manoah, seemingly out of nowhere, is going to be to the 2021 Blue Jays that young upstart arm that they had counted on Nate Pearson being. And the reason I'm really taken back by what you chimed in with there, Clark, is because that is my answer to Max's question. I would have Pearson in the bullpen, gentlemen. He, to me, has Aaron Sanchez vibes. And I always said, if I were running the Blue Jays in 2015 and 2016, the players would not have liked me because Sanchez would have been my closer and Stroman would have been my setup man. I think they both have that mentality where they can put things behind them very, very easily, like those back-inning bullpen guys have to do. And when you're only coming in for one inning, we mentioned this earlier with when we were talking earlier, when you're only coming in for one inning, you can go balls out. Now Nate Pearson is at 100, 101 for that entire inning. Let's remember, gentlemen, the only good time we've seen Nate Pearson, the only good outing we've seen from him ever on the big league level was in the playoffs against Tampa. Remember, he came in for 2 innings in relief, struck out 5 of the 6 batters, was absolutely dominant, and he was just balls out. When you're a starter, you need to save something in the tank. And whatever that's doing to his mechanics is something that has been very problematic for him. I would like to see him go to the bullpen to allow him to be way more free and easy with his delivery, way more free and easy with his mechanics, see if that'll help not only with the injuries, but aren't the Blue Jays a team that could use somebody in the back of the bullpen that has the ability to miss bats? I think it makes all kinds of sense, guys, for Pearson to end up in the bullpen. They seem really hardcore that that's not what's going to happen. I'll tell you, I would honestly have Thomas Hatch in the bullpen because he has such a versatile arm at all. I trust Shapiro and Atkins. I think the Jays are in better hands than they've ever been in. But when it comes to what the plan for Pearson, I'm definitely on the reliever side myself.
So there you go, Max. I told you months ago. Max, that Pearson should be back there.
Hey, you know what? I didn't blast you that badly for the take. I was just,
No.
hey, this was also
we had an honest discussion about it, but
it was also pre 2 groin injuries in a span of 6 weeks. So.
Well, it is what it is. But my reference point was thinking back to David Price when he broke in with the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was kind of the same idea. Comes in a playoff appearance, a couple of them, late inning guy, just comes in, blasts some strikeouts. Gives them confidence, gives them a little bit of, I can do this, I can beat guys at this level, and I don't think Nate Pearson's had that yet. So I feel like if you give him even a full season, and I know it's hard to go from a starter to a reliever and then back to a starter, but I would just love to see him go in there. And I think back to, we got roasted by the Yankees for years because they got up 6 innings into a game, and then they threw Betances, Miller, Chapman. And you're not winning that. You're not winning that game. It's just, you can't come back on that. So if you had guys like Merriweather, Pearson, and Craig Kimbrell, no, but let's go into that.
He said the name.
Max wanted to ask you, and I'm going to meld our 2 questions together,
Go
Max.
right for it.
If the next move, if I know you're kind of tempering your expectations, but I'm going to untemper them and say, what if they want to go all in this year? Maybe not all in, but what if they want to make another big move and really give these guys a big chance to maybe do something? If it's a Scherzer or if it's a whoever, what kind of package are we looking at here? Maybe it's the Cubs, because we talked about the Cubs. Chris Bryant, maybe he's been rumored for years to come to the Jays, and Craig Kimbrell, or maybe it's one of their starters or whatever it is. What are we looking at in terms of some prospect names to watch for, and maybe who are the roster guys that are on the fringe right now?
Well, I'll take us back to, I guess it was 2 weeks ago tonight, Barry Davis on the SquadCast, and Max pointed out that it was that 2015 Kansas City Royals that really got this whole thing started. Their pitcher needed to go 6 innings, and then night-night. What else do we have? Dinner plans? What else is happening tonight? Because they had that 7th, 8th, and 9th locked, and it was all with arms like you just described, the Merriweathers, the Kimbrells. It was always swing and miss lockdown arms. If it's going to be a guy like Kimbrell, I do think the Jays are a little more open to listen to that. If it's going to be a guy like Scherzer, I don't think anything would happen unless they have a re-up, a contract extension with Scherzer. Kimbrell is still under contract for next season. It's at a $16 million, so it's probably not even it's probably not even horrible. And I've never seen an organization in all of baseball that has as many middle infielders coming through the system as the Toronto Blue Jays currently have. It's incredible and it's impressive. Several are going to either have to be moved for guys like Kimbrell, or at the very least find a new position going forward, the outfield, third, whatever it's going to be. So Kevin Smith is a real nice name at AAA. He was somebody who was perhaps disappointing coming into this season, but he is really, something has clicked with him this season. He is kicking major butt. Jordan Groshans is a major star in the offing as well. These are just a few. Aurelvis Martinez that are close to becoming now. So if the Blue Jays were to make a move for a guy like Kimbrell, I do think that they might part with one of these top prospects, simply because Kimbrell is controllable for another year and a half, and they have so much of the middle infield prospect depth. From what I was saying earlier, gentlemen, I just don't think the Jays are out there making it rain. 2015, Alex Anthopoulos was out there making it rain with the prospects. And the story I was told is that Mark Shapiro met with Anthopoulos shortly after that, when Shapiro was becoming the president of the Blue Jays, and took a strip off of Anthopoulos and made it clear, you were not in charge of the 2015 Toronto Blue Jays. You were in charge of the Toronto Blue Jays. And you wanted that contract extension, right? That would have kept you here till 2022, 2023. What was this team going to look like from 2015 to 2016 on with the prospects you've traded there? So, again, Shapiro and Atkins looking to build something sustainable here. If it's going to be a pitcher on that level, I won't be stunned if one of the top guys go. But, gentlemen, the one thing we need to keep in mind, the one thing we don't know, I should say, as part of this equation, is how do the Jays feel about Merriweather and Baraki? If they truly feel that both will be back healthy and both will get back to their potential, then is there a trade deadline asset out there that's better than either one of them, in particular, if you really have to pony up some of this prospect capital?
I'm just sitting here and I'm
just
like
marinating in knowledge.
So,
it's awesome.
Craig, we are technically out of time, but stay tuned because Craig's going to call in later. We're going to have a 4-hour discussion after this.
Hold on. This is going to turn into the Avengers of SquadCast appearances. We're going to deal with number 1. We've got we'll call it Age of Shapiro.
There you go.
And then we'll go with Infinity War, whatever. We'll figure out the names later.
We'll work on the
been
scripts.
awesome, Craig.
We'll work
This
on the
has been
scripting and
fantastic.
stuff later. Craig, thank you so much for hanging out. This is, as you mentioned earlier, appearance 1 of many, I believe, sir. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, and we will do this again before too long.
Plug the man's MLB creator class as well.
MLB creator class. How's that going, Craig? Do you have an update on that at all? Has anybody reached out to you yet?
In full honesty, gentlemen, I don't think anybody, when I see people talking about it, they all wonder, hey, I wonder what's happening with this. I don't think anything. I really don't know. And you know what, guys? That was Clark that put me onto that. I had no idea about this. And I just really thank you guys a lot. Last thing I want to mention real quick, because I'll tell you something. I can't even spell hockey. I don't have a huge passion for hockey, but Clark is getting me into the Leafs. But I told myself when I'm on the SquadCast, I want to shout something out here because I want to mention Max Ritz is looking fresh to death in those Predators gear. Max might be bringing me over to the Predators, guys. I got to tell you, though, that yellow, when he's got that on with the hat and the jersey, he is looking like $1 million.
And his beard matches it.
Hey, it's just what it is.
Look, he's looking great today.
I try to
You just got manicured, didn't you?
I did get manicured today. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had to look a little bit more like Ryan Ellis off season. So, Craig, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of room on the Predators bandwagon, especially in this country. So feel free. The Leaf fans, that's okay. They got everything they need. Come on over to the gold side. We'll take care of you. Anything to rebuttal, or are you going to try to win his fandom?
I can't talk about the team. I'm not allowed to talk about the team until the Stanley Cup is over.
Oh,
so
I
I can't say
almost had
anything.
him.
We got a Popeyes gift card on the line. If I mention, I don't know, you almost got me, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put the Popeyes gift card on the line for that. I can't do it. Craig, we'll talk to you another time very soon. Keep crushing it, my friend, and we'll chat again very soon.
Thank you kindly, good sir.
Yeah. What a pleasure, guys. You take care.
All right, that's Craig Ballard. That was amazing. That was great. I was learning so much.
I was just going to say, it's hard to get the questions out when I'm just like, holy man, he's so right about, like you said, he's playing chess while we're all playing checkers on some of these moves, man. He's got this figured right out. So I absolutely love it.
Max, you're out of here, huh?
It's a bit of a short night. I'm on holidays.
Yep.
I'm enjoying it. I got myself a nice little, I said I got some color. I didn't say what color it was, but a little bit of red. It's been out on the golf course, so that's where I'm headed back to.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, Max, that was great. We're going to have to do this again next week.
We'll do it again.
Like
episode 41. Hey, I'll check my calendar. I'm sure I'll be able to make it, though.
All right, sounds good. Next, after this commercial break, we are talking to a couple of hockey trainers. Trevor Lackness. Is Shay here? Shay's not here. Trevor's here from TS Hockey Training, but we'll get the full lowdown from Trevor after the break. Stay tuned.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. we've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at roxdar.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
All right, we are back. We're switching the chairs out again. It's musical chairs night here on the SquadCast. Before we get to Trevor, hang tight. We do have to mention, and I think, Alan, do you have the photo of this? We have the Wood Jerseys contest giveaway that we just wanted to promote and make sure you guys keep checking it out. We are giving away, we're partnering with Wood Jerseys, woodjerseys.com. You can check out everything they got going on. For your choice of a Wood jersey, if you win this thing, it's great. We're going to be doing this until Friday. Maybe we forgot. There it is. We got the video still. So there it is. These are the Wood jerseys that we're talking about, Trevor. These things are unbelievable. They're basically, I think they're like the size of a normal jersey hanging up, and they're made of this great quality wood. It's extremely detailed. And they make every single Canadian team, along with, I believe, Vegas, and they're branching in. Tampa Bay they did. So they're branching into the American teams, but right now they got all the Canadian teams. Look at those things. They're just gorgeous. They're great collectibles. They're great decor for your house. So anyways, we're giving one of these away. So it's over on all of our platforms, all three of our platforms. All you got to do is like the post, share the post, comment, tag some people. Bob's your uncle. So it's really easy to do. Go enter it now. It's open until Friday, so go check that out. But for now, Trevor Lackness is here. Trevor, first of all, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me. I follow you guys on TikTok. And
there you go.
I'm a huge Leaf fan like you, Clark. I can't agree with everything you're spouting off these days, but
totally,
we have to stick together.
Not many people have been agreeing with me, and I'm not allowed to talk about them.
No,
let's
go. Just before, let's put this
You
thing
talk
away.
about them,
I'll
and I
talk
will
about
nod
them,
my
and you
head.
give me nod head.
Yeah.
We disagree on Marner. That's what we
Okay.
have to disagree on.
Yeah.
$11 million man.
Right.
Okay. Oh, well, if we get some more, you don't get pieces for $11 million man.
No.
Okay. He got 5 goals his first playoff run. He's got 5 over the glass penalties since that.
That's
18
true.
games without a goal.
That's happened.
Elite guy, LeBron James, the Tom Brady's, the elites can't do that. And so, one more year, Ovechkin, one more year, and it worked out for Ovechkin.
That's my
Maybe,
thing,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying, if he was making $7 million, I'd be patient. 11, no.
I know. And that's the hard part, and I'm going to try my best to avoid saying the actual words here, but, you know, when those contract negotiations were happening, and everyone was thinking, you know, if he would just sign for a reasonable amount, that none of this probably would be getting brought up right now. But because the number is what it is, it's this massive point of contention between this fan base, and it's really unfortunate that it has to be there because, maybe you saw my video where I talked to myself from 2007, and you know, if you said to your 2007 self that we have this type of player on this team now, see how I'm getting around this, Max? I haven't said a single actual word. I'm walking a tight line. But if we would have had this player back in 2007, imagine the types of things we could have done with, certain players that were there. See, I can't say any words.
No, I know, but it's just
that's where I'm at.
I'm a Leaf fan since '93.
Yes.
When the Leafs were up 3-1, and my friends are
I know.
Friends are phoning and get excited. I'm not excited until I see Tavares hoist the cup, because until I see it, I don't believe it's ever going to happen in my lifetime.
We'll see. Yeah, it's going to be a interesting summer, not only for that team. Again, not saying the team. Well, not only for that team, but across the league, it's going to be really interesting. We have a Seattle Kraken jersey over there, and with them coming into the league, just the shakeup it's going to cause, and the cap not going up, and there's a lot of things. It's going to be and it all starts, Trevor, in about 11 days when the Seattle protection lists come out. The draft is 3 days later. The entry draft is right after that. And then the free agency starts on the Wednesday following. It's going to be about an 11-day window of just chaos, and I'm here for it.
And, with Montreal and the Islanders making the Final Four, it is, and the year before, 2 years ago, before the COVID Cup, whatever you call it, the bubble, the top 4 teams lost out in the division. Every first-place division team lost. So anybody, the thing is, we're in a generation where anybody could win the cup compared to the 90s, where it was 2 or 3 teams were guaranteed to win the cup. So it's an exciting time for NHL.
Oh, absolutely, very much so. Now, you are here from TS Hockey Training, so I want to dive into that a little bit before we talk a little bit more maybe about some hockey stuff. So TS Hockey Training, first off, how did this get started? How long have you guys been around? And, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, me and Shay have been around. I've been around, Max. I've been around. I feel old when I say I haven't seen you since you're 14 years old. I used to train Max back in the day when he was a young hockey kid. And, actually, I used to train Shay. And I've always kind of been around training hockey players. But then when I have a kid and life gets busy, I kind of backed down and just kind of kept a few guys and girls over the years. But then when COVID hit, Shay was doing Zoom training, and he was doing dryland, and he said, well, we got all these kids from around Regina. Can you do some skills? So we set up a little studio, not fancy like this, but in our basement. Next thing you know, we're getting requests from all over North America. And next thing, the Iran national hockey teams found us on Instagram, and it was, kind of went, so we did well through COVID sitting at home, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And, and then right when the rinks opened up again, me and him got together and we were doing a lot of training, and then he opened up a facility and asked me to help him out on the skills. And ever since then, kids from all over southern Saskatchewan have been coming to us. It's been great.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your hockey background specifically. I know Shay got a little of the WHL time in there. He played for Team Canada at the U17s the 1 year, and I think he's in his late 20s now. Trevor, what's your hockey background like, and maybe just talk about that a little bit.
Well, Shay was projected to be a second rounder NHLer, and then he was you could say a Tom Wilson of his time, where he could score goals, skilled, but, one problem is he liked fighting a little too much, and he got in some concussion issues, and it's unfortunate, he can't even play a rec hockey game or a senior hockey game, which is very unfortunate. Myself, I've done everything in hockey, from hockey and coaching, never got to play at the high level, but then about 15 years ago, I was involved in the Puckmasters, and I was just really, really fortunate to learn from some of the best. I had such great mentors, and I really enjoyed the skill. I'm not a coach. I don't like coaching as much. I like teaching, and there's a huge difference.
Yes.
And sometimes coaches become too big of teachers, and the whole team suffers. And sometimes when you're coaching too much, the teacher. So there's a fine line to a great coach, but I'm too intense to coach, and. And I really enjoy the skill training, and I've been really fortunate, a lot of good players in Saskatchewan to trust me to work with. So it's been exciting the last few years.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of those players here in a minute. I've seen a lot of your videos in the last few months here. Where are you guys operating out of right now? Because the facility right now looks pretty awesome. Yeah,
we're just at Ross Avenue, 1741 Ross Avenue, just at the end of the city limits there, and it's a great business set up and to learn from other athletes. And we got a fastball guy in there, and Dustin Mulliken and Cole Workin are in there with their hard ball. And so, I mean, even though we're not baseball, the stuff you're learning and the work ethic from a pro like Dustin Mulliken, and it's just because you're doing hockey shooting, you can still see another sport and what they're learning or doing. And Dustin being in the pros has helped. It's just phenomenal for a guy like that to come back and teach Regina kids. And so we're all around facilities. So it's a multi-sport facility, and it's great. And kids, sometimes you see them leave the hockey and go straight to the baseball.
Yeah,
so it's great that way too. And Shea does personal training, and he's got a lot of great hockey players and workers this summer.
Yeah, and just speaking from experience with Dustin Mulliken, where we've been partners out.
You're missing the Trappers game right now as we speak.
I know, right? Like, actually, I was supposed to be playing on the team, but I told him I couldn't do it this summer. But Dustin worked out at RBI Baseball out east of Regina, and I helped out there a few times. And seeing Dustin work with kids, it's amazing. So the fact that he's around your kids is that in itself is a benefit on top of everything you guys are doing. So. Again, I see some of your videos, a lot of them, and there's some really interesting thing that these kids are working on right now. And can you talk about some of the things that the top prospects or even the younger kids that you work with, what kind of things are you doing right now?
Well, a lot of things are with hockey shooting is every dad gets the mini stick when we turn 2 or 3 years old, and some are much younger, and they say, here you go, here, have a stick. And then the basic hockey schools, when the kid's 7 or 8, we teach them little bit of body movement, and then we just kind of let them go. And then all of a sudden, they come to Bantam into WHL, and hey, you don't have a shot.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we have to work on, there's, again, back to coaching and teaching. We just, that kid's got a good shot, he's scoring goals, everything must be good. But then sometimes when kids creep into the next level, their shot's not where it should be. So with the younger kids, we're just teaching the proper form, and, hopefully they keep coming to us, and over years we can develop that shot. There's nothing like you come to me for an hour, you're going to have a great shot.
Yeah.
It's a year's process like anything. You just can't get good overnight. And, so we do a lot of body movements, and we do foot work. We do on ice and at the center, but a lot of what to do with hockey shooting is you can't do it if you can't do it properly on foot with the proper body movements. Good luck doing it on a 1/4-inch blade.
Sure.
So we really and it's cheaper than ice time. And so we really focus on the proper body movements, what's coming from what. You talk to a WHLer, and it's like, whoa, no one's ever taught me this stuff. So and everybody's got a different type of shot. So we say, this guy on the team, he can take a slap shot and put it through the glass. Well, like I always say, the difference of Ryan Getzlaf to Patrick Kane. Ryan Getzlaf has a shot where he's going to create a 20-foot rebound. His accuracy's probably not there, or quick release. But Patrick Kane, Jordan Eberle's, the Marners, Matthews is good at everything.
Oh, yeah.
But these guys shoot, and there are different types of shot, Patrick Kane to Ryan Getzlaf, but a coach would love to have both guys on the team.
Yeah.
So we try to get the shot for your body, not what, this 200-pound guy on my Bantam team can take a slap shot and hit the glass. Well, you're 100 pounds, you probably aren't going to ever do that, but we can work with a quick release. We can work on other accuracy, other aspects that are great for the game.
Perfect. So you talked WHL. I know you work with a lot of kids from all sorts of age groups. You say it's a year-long process, more than multi-year process, and I can totally attest to that. But the NHL draft is coming up soon, and Western Canada always has solid kids getting drafted. Who are some prospects that you might have worked with, or that you've seen to watch for in this year's NHL draft that you know of here in the province, maybe?
First off, I haven't worked one-on-one with Cole Sillinger. Last year, I had the great opportunity of being on the ice for one of Shea and Darcy Verreaux's pep sessions, and he was on there. You read a lot about the draft, and he has an Austin Matthews shot, Cole Sillinger. Like the way he can pull it in, the angle changes. Goalies are so good now. So if you watch the Austin Matthews and the high levels of goals. You're not ever going to score on these guys one-on-one. They're spending just as much time training as we're training our players to score.
Yes.
But Cole Sillinger has that angle change, and he's got a pro shot. Another good guy, which they become. And the thing is with scouting, I feel horrible for these kids. Back when 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, you'd read a one-line thing about a guy. Great skater, they compare him to Pronger. He's the next, Taylor Hall, whoever. And then all of a sudden now, you got to scroll through your phone like this, how he receives the puck in his own zone. Can he get it's just, these scouts spend more time finding negatives on a guy than positives. So I try to look at the positives. Brant Clark, I don't know, his skating, which I'm not an expert on skating. I know, too bad Shea wasn't here, about the body movements of that.
Sure.
Everybody, even some guys you think like, oh, he doesn't have a great shot. Well, let's make him into a shot. Skating, they tried that in the 90s. Let's take the big guy. We'll teach him how to skate. Didn't always pan out. Maybe Brant Clark's never had the proper skating teacher. There's another guy. And then, and we got some Regina guys. Blake Svetlakov,
oh, yeah.
He got ranked really high in the higher in the NHL thing. I believe he's got a hard worker. He's got a great shot. Drew Inglot on the Pats has a shot of getting drafted. He's got a great shot, and he's really working on, using it,
yes.
right? He wasn't a big shooter last season. His analytics and shooting percentages were down, but hopefully he gets a good chance in that shortened season. He had to prove himself.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, now I can apply this to sports in general, but I coached baseball. You mentioned how, coaching and teaching are two different things. I coached a couple years in baseball, and then I really got into the training side of it for a couple years after that with, again, our friends out at RBI Baseball. Shout out to them again. But I noticed from growing up, my own personal experience playing baseball specifically, I did some hockey training, but not as deep as I went into baseball. Growing up, I never had the opportunities that some of these kids have nowadays in any sport, but in hockey and baseball, I feel like specifically. And I feel like it's just changed dramatically in, I'm going to say, the last 10 years. So since you've been doing it for a while now, how big has that change really been in the last, I'm going to say, 10 years in the training, sports training in general?
Well, huge. And in 10 years from now, is this the pinnacle of it?
Yeah.
I would have said that 10 years ago where, skill development coaches and video and analytics and, there's been so many more markets opened up.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going. I'm the first to say, there might be some guys come up, like huge respect. He's my Darryl Belfay. He does the Austin Matthews and the Leafs. He's kind of an expert at it all. I don't know how many more Darryl Belfays will come. But I think you take the 80s and 90s where training camp was training camp. And Wayne Gretzky would play lacrosse and baseball in summer, and training camp, they turned it on and they practiced hard.
Yeah.
And then, in the late 90s, the Sidney Crosbys and all them came in early 2000s. And then all of a sudden, diet. You hear the older players laughing that these guys are drinking protein shakes after a game rather than beers. And then, I don't know. I think it was like the Sidney Crosbys, the Kobe Bryants that just took it to another level of you got to be doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The
right.
Tom Brady's.
Yeah.
And then I think that early 2000s kind of spurred into this, that if you're taking a few months off, you're behind. Yeah. And I love the Mamba mentality where Kobe talks about we posted a video on TikTok, just how, he watched the average NBAer only work out 2 times a day. Well, he's going to work out 4 times a day. And then once somebody figures out what he's doing, he's hundreds of hours ahead.
Right.
I know of quite a few, through working with Bantam draft kids that are friends with Connor Bedard that have played, and no one's confirmed this, absolutely said it, but I read a global report on Connor Bedard out of Vancouver, and the interviewer asked him how many shots he does a day. Well, 1,300. So I figured out this math. he's not doing 1,300 shots a day, 365 days a year. He's busy with Christmas, he's Thanksgiving, he's got tournaments. Okay, let's say half the days of the year he's doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, from the age of 10 till 15, he's shot 1.1 million shots.
Jeez. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
every WHLer I've talked to over the last 15 years, they say, whoa, you got a good shot. How many shots a day have you done? Well, I've done 200 a day. So they've done 110,000 shots in that time. Same as them. They're taking Christmas and all that off. I'm saying, so Connor Bedard has shot 1 million more shots. So now, okay, if you're a kid that's the same age as Connor Bedard coming into the WHL, and that's, I want a good shot. That guy will never catch Connor Bedard. You'll never catch him. He'll always have the best shot. So when people say, he's got God's gifts, and yeah, he's got things, but he works hard.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And I see the same thing in baseball. The elite pitchers I hear about in Regina, they're training 3-4 times a week. It's back to math. If you're just doing it once, twice a month, it's just not going to cut it.
Yeah, and that's where I saw the biggest jump from when I was, developing through minor league and high school and all those times, is that the opportunities are now here in Saskatchewan. It's a lot more than I remember it being anyways. When I was, in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, there's so many great businesses like yourself that are opening up and really have great, it's not just that they're doing it, it's that they know what they're talking about and they're studying this stuff. And it's, like yourself, you say you go to Puckmasters and all these places and there's all this new learning opportunity for the instructors who can then pass it on. And I feel like that's been a big development in the last little while. Would you say?
Oh, yeah. And Regina's been blessed with a lot of good hockey minds coming back.
Yeah.
You can take, Regina had a lot of WHLers. Then you had Mike Sillinger and Brad Haroff, rejuvenate that Pac Canadians team. And and then those spur on for years, and they help another coach out. So Regina's been very lucky in the last few years to have good people come back to it. And like you said, if you were the lead athletes we hear about between mine and your age, they'd go to Toronto if they had money. They'd go to Calgary. They'd go to Kelowna, which we should all be there. But
yeah, I know, right? Yeah, absolutely. Trevor, where can everybody find everything that you're doing?
Well, we just got a website starting up, and I don't know the thing, but find us on Instagram, TS Hockey, and we try to make it. The other thing is we just don't want to think, you have to be, JC Lapon or Sam Marumba or some Connor Bedard. We like shot. We have shooting. We cater to the young kids just as much as we do to the pros and WHLers. So, check our page on Instagram there. Send us a video. We'll put your kid up there and TikTok. So
yeah, it's really great what you guys are doing. So keep doing it. It's great stuff. TS Hockey training, hockey shooting, pretty much anywhere you can search it and you'll find it. Trevor, thanks for coming in tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Really appreciate it. When you come back from break, we got one more segment left. Alan, the producer's coming out here. We're talking basketball, UFC, maybe a little bit more. See you in about 2.5 minutes.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Peterson Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Peterson Show today.
Everyday hoop life.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. we've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. IKS Live, the proud producer of The Rod Peterson Show and The Recovery Hour. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. RoxDar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the RoxDar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at roxdar.com.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
The SquadCast musical chairs continues. Producer Alan is in the seat now, and we're going to get to you in just a second, Alan. We're going to be talking basketball, UFC. We're going to have some fun. Before we do that, I should mention a couple of our good friends, our good sponsors, because I didn't mention Hoop Life earlier because we didn't get to the top of the order because we didn't really have enough time. So our friends at Hoop Life, they have a ton of good stuff going on over at Hoop Life Basketball. HoopLifeBasketball.com to check it all out. You can sign up for their camps, their sessions, buy some apparel, which is unbelievably nice, and you can get 10% off by using the Squad10 promo code. Squad10, 10% off. Check it out. They got a ton of great stuff. If you want to take your hoop game seriously, visit Hoop Life Basketball. New facility opening up soon. We got to talk to those guys again and see where they're at. Last time we talked to Habib, I know that they were, the construction was taking place, so they should be opening up right away. And I think, Jordan, we wanted to do a show from there. We talked about this. I'm not surprising you with that, but I know that we want to do some big things with Hoop Life coming up. Also, shout out to our friends at RBI Baseball and Softball in Regina. I'm just trying to find the read. Where did I put it? There it is. No, that's the IKS Media one. I guess I should shout out IKS Media too. But RBI Baseball, there it is. Are you looking for a way to improve your skills on the diamond? Are you in needs of some private training, some private coaching, skill building? Make sure you head out to RBI Baseball and Softball Training Facility on the east side of Regina. It's Saskatchewan's premier baseball training facility. They got great coaches. They've got great programs. So head there and check out RBI at Facebook, on Instagram, and on their website at RBI. They rise above the rest. IKS Media, thank you so much, IKS Media. They do great work. We're sitting in the bunker. Alan, the producer, is here. I was going to say intern, but you're not the intern at this show. You're the producer. So, Alan, you're wearing the Suns jersey. Suns in 4. Yep. Yeah, there it is. Yep. Suns in 4. Bucks. Suns. I just saw the report. Giannis is playing in Game 1. There was reports he might not play. Obviously, that's a huge game changer for the Bucks. Can you tell me a little bit about this series? Because it's two teams that haven't been here a lot in the past.
That's true, though. For the Bucks, they haven't won in 50 years.
Yeah,
kind of like the Leafs.
Oh, jeez,
that was
killing me, Alan.
I know that was the last time they won. As for the Phoenix, they haven't been 93. They lost to the Bulls. So it's interesting, both small market teams. I honestly like the Suns better because they got a younger core, and I like Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I think those guys can do better because I'm not so sure about Giannis. And currently, right now, the Suns are winning right now.
Oh, geez. That game's on. Let me just double check the score. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how these teams got to this point, because we talked to Habib and Andrew whenever the Hoop Life boys are on. We love talking to those guys. There was the Clippers, there was the Lakers, there was all these teams, the Nets, that the Bucks beat the Nets. So tell me, I guess, who did the Bucks beat to get here, and who did the Suns beat to get here?
Well, for the Bucks, they swept the Miami Heat like that. It was I thought it was going to be more competitive, but unfortunately, it wasn't. After that, they faced against the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah,
and it was. I was surprised. I really thought Brooklyn was going to win. But then
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, well, because it felt like kind of like Golden State versus the Raptors. Raptors weren't supposed to win in the finals, but Golden State's, everybody started getting injured.
Right.
Kyrie, then James Harden had a hamstring thing.
Jordan's favorite basketball player is James Harden. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh,
He's so mad right now. He hates James Harden.
And then Kevin Durant, unfortunately, couldn't hit that shot. And then same thing. And then they faced off against the
Hawks, right?
Yeah, and then I didn't think they would. I didn't think it was going to be that competitive. I thought it was either going to be a sweep, or maybe in 6 like that. But I didn't think it was going to. I didn't think it was going to happen in 7 games, to be honest.
Yeah, and then the Suns, they kind of rolled through the West a little bit.
Yeah,
Again, probably due to some injuries, but they beat the Nuggets. That was the Suns in 4 thing, right?
Yeah.
They beat the Nuggets. And who else did they face?
They faced the Lakers, and they beat them in 6.
Right.
And then they also beat
the Clippers.
Yeah, the Clippers.
Right? The Clippers?
Yep.
So both these teams have beat some pretty good teams in order to get here.
True.
I'm checking the score right now. 74-60 for the Suns. So they're up 14 in game number 1 in Phoenix. I don't have the box score in front of me in terms of who scored what, but Janelle Barkman's checking in. Oh, my word, I'm so late. The match is on. I'm sorry. Janelle, that's a great excuse. I'm totally okay. If you're missing us to watch the match, I totally get it. I didn't realize that was tonight. Tom Brady, Phil Mickelson, is it Bryson DeChambeau, and
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers. There we go. So that's going on right now. I honestly didn't know that. But we have a question here, Alan. A question for you.
Cool.
Now, it's your brother, Gregory.
Hey, Greg. How's it going, man?
Who's your picks for McGregor versus Poirier? So, now, before we get to this, there is a big UFC event this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's the return of Conor McGregor. This is a rematch fight. A rematch or a trilogy?
Third fight.
Trilogy fight. So, what's happened in the first 2 to lead up to this point?
Well, the first fight, it was fresh face, McGregor and Poirier. And McGregor won the first fight, but knocked him out. Then we fast forward, we go to the second fight. Both guys are more seasoned vets and like that. But Poirier won the second. Won the second fight. Now it's the big number 3 to see who wins on all the marbles. I honestly think Poirier is like that because he's winning off from the second fight and he knows what's going to happen. And I feel like McGregor's kind of. I don't want to say washed up to agree because he already has he doesn't really need a fight.
Yeah.
So this is I don't think he has the motivation to do it.
Okay, that's interesting. I'd love to see you tell him that.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alan, you've been crushing some great interviews for the Rod Peterson Show lately. The pre-show, you've been running that for the last few weeks now.
Yeah.
I just saw Jordan editing your next one with Patrick Cote.
Yeah.
What was that like interviewing an actual fighter? Because I've seen you've interviewed some analysts.
Yeah.
What was it like interviewing an actual fighter?
It was actually pretty good because for one, I didn't expect him to actually do it for one. Right. I was surprised. I liked picking his brain when it comes to his favorite fights or saying who was the Mount Rushmore and that stuff. Or one of my favorite ones is his favorite one guy I forget who it was, but he basically beat him in the first round. But when he gave him the uppercut, and then he still got stayed in it, and he still managed to win. I found it funny because he was so he kind of swore a lot.
Oh yeah,
so,
Jordan told me about that.
So that's why I was oh man,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
the life of a fighter is an interesting one. I will say that. So what's next for the interviews? Are you still kind of focusing on the UFC for those interviews specifically, or what do you got next?
It's kind of more of a mixture. After that, it was kind of we got what's his name, Andy McNamara.
Oh, good. Yeah.
We got James Lynch. He's another MMA guy.
Okay.
And then he made the books. He was He made a lot of hockey books.
Jim Lang?
Yeah, Jim Lang.
Nice.
Got Jim Lang. And then the final guy so far is TJ Perkins, a professional wrestler.
Okay.
Yeah,
WWE style wrestling.
Yeah, WWE.
Okay, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, so yeah. Same thing like with Patrick Cote. I didn't expect him to do the interview, but then I was like, oh my God, he wants to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
That's great. You haven't done that one yet?
Oh, no, it's already.
It's done?
Yeah,
okay,
it's done.
Nice.
So,
well, we'll all be looking forward to that. I've been loving the pre-show interviews, so that's great. Tomorrow, Alan, are you in tomorrow with the show?
I think so.
Okay, tomorrow on the show, Craig Smith is making his return to the bunker.
Damn.
We haven't had Craig Smith in the bunker for well over a year because he had some health issues and then COVID, and he was already kind of self-isolating himself before COVID. So he's making his return. He texted me today, actually. It worked out great timing-wise. He texted me today. He's like, hey, I might consider coming into the bunker. Are you guys all vaccinated? I'm like, most of us are. Yeah, we're almost there, or at least one vaccine. And Jordan doesn't leave the back room, so he's okay. But we're all almost there. And Craig's like, all right, I'm ready to come back. I'm like, yes, because we love Craig Smith coming into the bunker. So Craig's coming on the show, and Argos wide receiver Ricky Collins Jr. is going to be joining us from Guelph at Argos training camp. So training camp hasn't started yet, but they've started their meetings and they've started isolating because all the American guys have to isolate when they come up here. So we get to talk to him. About whatever is going on at camp. It's going to be really interesting to hear. Next week on the SquadCast, we're not quite sure yet. We had a show booked, but it's actually getting changed. The dates are changing on it. So we had the Henderson brothers, Joel and Chris. They were going to come in. Joel's a big hockey scout. Chris is a big Blue Jays guy. So we had them coming into the studio next week, but they needed to change the dates. So they're going to come in later July. So it's next week. We're going to shake it up a little bit and see what happens. But it's going to be a good show either way. So thank you for all tuning in tonight. Alan, what else you got going on right now? What do you want to say to the people?
Just doing stuff for the Rod Peterson show.
Just crushing it.
Yeah, for the internships. Having a blast over there.
Yeah.
And trying to get some more interviews of Steve like that done.
Yes.
So basically, yeah.
Just crushing it. Absolutely. Alan, thank you so much for everything you do here and upstairs in the Rod Peterson show. For director Jordan in the back, I don't know, Jordan, you got your tribal drums out tonight? There they are. We are going to be signing off. I'll give Mad Max a shout out. He's not here right now. He had to take off. Thanks to Trevor Lackness for coming in tonight. Big thank you to Craig Ballard for hanging out with us tonight. He's going to be coming on a lot more often, as you guys could tell. He was great. And massive, 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 massive shout out to our friends Roxanne and Darnell for coming in tonight. Literally couldn't do this show without those guys and our friends at IKS Media as well. So from the basement of the bunker, I am signing off. I'm producer Clark. For our friends at RoxDar Supply Chains, IKS Media, Hoop Life Basketball, RBI Baseball. We'll see you guys next week. See you then.